Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, wearing an Optimus Prime hoodie, recording a What's on My iPhone video for 2014. I only do this once a year because my iPhone doesn't change all that often. I usually upgrade once a year, but the apps and navigation, general layout, and feel doesn't change, but maybe enough to necessitate doing a different video once a year. So if this looks at all familiar to the one I did last year, do not be surprised. But many of you had requested it. I decided to do it when we reached 500 patrons. Thank you for your support, and remembering to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is my iPhone. That is also my iPhone. It's a mirror of what's happening on my iPhone screen. I'm using Air Server, and if you want to download a copy, you can do the same thing with your iOS devices. go.tagjag.com/Air Server. I'm also going to have other links in this video's description. Not a link to every app that I own, because I don't even think I could get all the app links in the video's description. I'd run out of space, because I have quite a few apps installed. But compared to last year, I would say fewer apps, because over the past year, I've actually eliminated a lot of the apps that I thought I would want to have on the phone. I mean, hey, what else am I going to take up the space with? I don't download a lot of music. I use music subscription services. Don't have a lot of videos. I take photos, but most of them, get pushed online, and I don't need them on my local device, whatever device I happen to be carrying. So, I'm an app addict. A fanatic. I love apps. I love software. Always have, and likely always will. See, there are hardware geeks and there are software geeks. I'm definitely more on the software side of geekery, which may explain why I've done YouTube videos the way that I have, or even created content the way that I have, going all the way back to 1996 on LockerGnome.com. Oh, the Optimus Prime hoodie, by the way, you can buy one too. We're reselling geeky stuff at shop.lockergnome.com. Am I talking too much about things that aren't related to apps? Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I don't think I'm going to demonstrate any apps today, because it would take a lot more time than I would need to share with you at this point. You could always download any one of these apps, whether it's free or you pay 99 cents or even $5. I know some people freak out over apps that cost money. I'm like, you guys don't remember when software was always $50, and even when you got it, it may suck. I'm that old. $50 software. Can you imagine paying $30 for software today? Have you done it? I'm not saying it would be a bad thing if you have. I'm just saying that most of the software needs that I have these days come by way of apps that are 99 cents or free, or even $5. $5 is nothing to spend on an app. Okay. Back to the apps. On my default Springboard screen, I have Calendar, Maps, Photos, Camera, Passbook, App Store, and Settings. Those are pretty much the only apps that I have outside of folders at this stage. I know that I do use Calendar frequently. Maps, not so much, but it is convenient to have it there. Photos and Camera side by side. Camera I do use frequently. App Store settings, they should speak for themselves. I do use them frequently enough, and just so having the icon there for a tap, that's good. I'm good to go. Passbook is something that I wish I could use more frequently. It's just that developers, or I guess vendors or whoever, haven't really grokked the concept of what Passbook is and its value. I see the value. Unfortunately, it seems that not a lot of other app developers have at this stage. The next thing, or I guess the first thing I can show you beyond the default apps, is the first folder here, Cameras, and I have several apps in here. The one that I use the most is ClearCam. That's this one right here. I've talked about it before in earlier videos, even the videos not related to my iPhone. You tap the button for ClearCam, it takes a series of 6 shots and just keeps the clearest image. I've been using it for years, going all the way back. For the first time I had an iPhone and ClearCam was released as an app, it keeps steady shots, clear shots. I don't worry about taking 44 shots. I just want a clear one. That's it. And ClearCam works to this day. Camera Plus I do use frequently, usually to edit photos. If I really wanted a balanced shot and not have to worry about editing the image afterwards, I use gyro lens, although not that often. If I want to take a more finely tuned HDR shot, HDR short for high dynamic range, there's an array of HDR apps, not all of which I use. Light painting is an app that I've done this before, long before I had an iPhone, where it basically opens up the aperture of the camera so that it can capture more light, and you can do fun things like light painting. And so this app enables that. Panorama, if I need to take a panoramic image that I can't necessarily take with the default camera app. See, a lot of the stuff that you're going to see, I'm not going to say has been replaced by the default apps in iOS or just the default functionality, but they're just there because I can have them there? I mean, what's the point of having an iPhone or any smartphone and not load it with apps that, transform it into this, that, and the other thing? iCamera is a fun app that will automatically superimpose like fun things like hearts over your eyes or change your eyes to be bulging, and it works really well, exceedingly well. Just a couple of other apps here I should point out. Clone Camera makes it easy for you to take one shot and then superimpose another shot, and then you could like move at into a different part of the frame, and then you've effectively cloned yourself. Clone Camera makes it easy to do those things. Kaleidocam turns the camera into a kaleidoscope. That's a feature that I would expect to see in a default camera app, although I guess it's a little, it's fun, but it's like more of what you might see in a photo booth type of application, which is not available for the iPhone, oddly enough, just still on the iPad. Selfie 360 is a nice app for taking selfies in animated GIFs. So you can spin around and take a selfie, and then it'll turn it into a GIF, or you can do a complete 360, or you can hand the camera to somebody else and they can walk around you. And every step of the way, you could be exporting as animated GIFs. And if you don't know much about me, you don't know that I love animated GIFs. Social is a folder that I use frequently. Tweetbot is my favorite Twitter application. I hate the default Twitter app ever since Twitter got a hold of it as an acquisition. Facebook's right there, Google+, which I do use frequently. I do use Facebook, but I also have Paper installed. Not really a fan of either one over the other. If I need to navigate or feel like I want to navigate something in Facebook, I will 9 times out of 10 go to the Facebook app. If I'm feeling a bit more freewheeling with my time, or I've got a lot of time to spare, I'll open up Paper for discovery. Instagram, YouTube, Flickr, which I don't use as much anymore. Flickr used to be a big deal. LinkedIn I hardly ever use. Then, of course, the LockerGnome app. We just updated this, by the way. And if you don't have the LockerGnome app, you should. We send out free push notifications to everybody if you opt into it, and you'll know right when we upload a new video to either one of our YouTube channels. This one, the Geek Lifestyles channel, or, of course, the classic one, which is now filled with vlogs. Clout, don't use it that much. Hootsuite, if I need to access our other Twitter accounts. Tumblr, Vine, Snapchat. I might as well get rid of Snapchat. I get it, but I don't get it. I mean, some people love it. I'm not a big fan of Snapchat. Foursquare, sometimes if I'm looking for discovery, of things around me. And Colloquy, which is IRC. And again, I don't use it that often, but what's the point? I'll keep it around just in case I need to get to a chat server at some point. Apple is the next folder. In Apple, I should say, in this Apple folder, I've got apps that Apple has released that I keep on the phone. So that would be Remote, which I use very frequently with all the Apple TVs that I have, and we've got 3, all of them. It's cheap, $99. Airport Utility, since I do run my wireless network through the airport. Find My iPhone, an essential app to have. I don't know why that's not built into iOS at this point. iPhoto, the Apple Store app, podcasts. I don't use podcasts as much as I would like to use podcasts, but I just don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to like 1 or 2. And the 1 or 2 that I listen to have zero to do with geekery. Believe it or not. I get most of my discovery in social. The iBooks app, iMovie, and trailers. Now, I have iMovie there in case I need to do any kind of video editing, but you notice I'm not running any or have any of the, even though I have them registered or purchased at one point, any of the Apple's Office Suite, iWork, I don't have them installed on the phone. I just don't use them all that often. If I use anything, it's usually Google Docs, even though the editing doesn't work as well. The next particular folder is default. So all of these apps are the ones that come with iOS that I don't have buried in other folders. So if I know that, it's a default app, I can jump right into defaults and be good to go there. Not really a big deal since everybody has the same apps. Input, output. These would be apps that are used to input or output. The two most frequent apps I use in this particular folder are Paper Karma to scan junk mail, physical junk mail, to stop junk mail from coming. Works like a charm, and it is free. And TurboScan. This phone is my scanner. I mean, I've purchased scanners for $400 before. This app has worked better than half the scanners I've ever purchased in my life. And it's an app for, $1 or $2, or I don't know how much it costs, but it's worth its weight in gold. If I need to do any OCR on the phone, I use Prismo. That is pretty much the de facto, to me, the best, or the name in terms of OCR on the phone. I've used nothing better. I have Dragon Dictation, but they haven't updated that app forever. A lot of the apps that I cleared out over the past year, much like I might with Dragon Dictation, they hadn't updated to accommodate the new tall screen size with the iPhone 5 and the 5S and potentially iPhones moving forward. The next folder, and I don't really use a lot of apps in the video folder. Some of them are there for legacy. I'll use VLC if I want to watch WMV videos or videos that don't necessarily play in the default camera, or I guess viewer on iOS if it's not viewed in preview. I've got the YouTube Capture app. Don't use it that often, but as far as the best app that I've found to take video that automatically stabilizes better than the default app, Luma. Luma is free, works exceedingly well. I've found nothing better. I don't do a lot of video recording on my phone, but if I'm really going for something that has or needs a steady shot, I'll use Luma before anything else. And beyond that, it's just I've got apps in there for different compatibilities. For photo edits, I've got a variety of them as well, but I don't use many of them all that often. They're there just in case I do need to edit a photo. And each one of the apps has a different set of features or functions. I think, really, I'm doing my best to pare down the amount of apps that I have available to me. But inevitably, you need that one feature and you're looking for it and it's available or you had it at one point and you can't remember which app it was in. That's a bigger frustration with apps. So you might as well just, I look at it, I might as well just keep them around. Snapseed, by the way, is a Google app at this point, but instead of putting it in the Google folder, I've decided to put it in the photo editors folder because it makes more sense in here. And then I don't know if I'd really want to dive in too deep to any one of these because I don't use a lot of the photo editors. If I use any editing for an image, it's usually, if I do it on the iPhone, it's probably within Camera Plus's image editor. I have to look at the phone because I can't tap the screen. I want to tap up here. It's nice to see the phone screen on a big screen. I'm really close. This is a big phone. So Screen Fun. If I'm just playing around, I just want some mindless activity. I'll open up Screen Fun and tap around the screen and like Maritime Paint is one of my favorites, where you just swipe across the screen and it makes this wonderful little painting. Don't want to, again, dive into it too quickly. One of the apps you should download from here, X Screensaver, is free, cross-platform, and I do believe open source. And on there, you can even get a bouncing cow or a series of bouncing cows. If you want screensavers on your iPhone, that's the best app for you. Brand Media, here is where I have any of the software services or big name brands that I might subscribe to. So we've got BBC News. Notice BBC is before CNN, NPR, which I absolutely trust. I'm an Amazon Prime subscriber, Hulu Plus subscriber, huluplus.com/Chris. By the way, if you want a 2-week free trial, that's a bonus. Netflix, I would say naturally. I'm an Xfinity subscriber, so I have the apps in there. I've got some of the other apps that I subscribe to through that particular service. Different channel apps. Hourly News is kind of nice. It downloads the latest hourly news from a lot of the broadcasts that normally go out over radio. PBS I recently downloaded, if only to be able to watch, I think it was Sherlock was running on PBS, the new one with Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch. Down below we have Reading. And I don't get to these as often as I would like, but I've got Circa, which is a great news app to catch up and not worry about a lot of reading, but you want to read the headlines and get just the information. Circa is perfect. Skyfire, an alternative browser that has a few more features. Kindle app, Flipboard, which I like. Pulse, which works well, but I think I like Flipboard more than I do Pulse. Dig. Speaky and Umano are ones that I recently picked up. Speaky will do... Look, it looks like I'm swiping on the screen, but I'm not. That's not bad. I accidentally brushed the real screen here. Oh, let me go back. Speaky, you can drag an article into, and it will read it back to you. It's kind of nice. Umano will basically do that without you having to prompt to read the news. It has a list of popular article writing vendors, services, blogs, whatever, and you can just listen to, as read by a professional speaker or someone who does dictation, instead of just a machine speaking back to you like Speaky might do. Umano will read you the news. Just something that I stumbled across and just haven't had a chance to really dive into too deeply. For accounts, I've got a variety of accounts that I connect to, like Shoeboxed for receipts, Xbox Smart Glass, since I have one Xbox in the house now. I used to have 4 or 5. I use Eventbrite for a lot of the services, or I guess events that I coordinate or might attend. FreshBooks we use for sending out invoices. 1Password is what I use to manage passwords. GoDaddy, I still register domains through there partially. Deliveries is the app that I use to track stuff. I'm a T-Mobile customer, so I use that to manage my account. Horizon's kind of fun. It's a different way of viewing what's on the horizon for the day. Don't use it that often. And the 7, this notification tells me it's the 7th day of the... No, wait. 7th day of the month? No, that can't be right. What the hell is that 7th? The notification means something, but I can't remember what it means right now. I thought it was like the day of the week, but it's not the 7th today. Strange. Dream Days 365 is just a way to have countdowns for future calendar days. I have more Google apps on my phone than I do Apple apps, at least the ones that you'd have to download and install. The ones that I use most often here would probably be Google Drive, Translate. I don't use Chrome as much as I probably should, considering I use Chrome on the desktop. Authenticator for two-factor authentication. I wonder when they're going to update Google Voice or they're going to kill it. Currents is already kind of on the chopping block. Google TV is an app that they have not updated in ages, and I have a Google TV, and I use this as a remote, and so it's the easiest way to do that from the phone. We're still on the first page. Weather, just a handful of different apps related to the weather. Nothing really to write home about. I just, sometimes you want a different view of the weather. 9 times out of 10, I just look, it's the temperature. Okay, I'm good to go. I don't need to know the forecast. I am tracking my allergies, though, a little better because we're entering allergy season at this time of year. So I've got 4 pages. Now I'm on 2 of 4. Swiped over. I've got a sharing folder. And this would include all apps that are related to files or file sharing, like Dropbox, Copy, OneDrive, Amazon's Cloud Drive, is GoToMeeting as well. That's sharing, but the sharing of a different kind, not a file, but sharing a screen or meeting. It fit in this particular folder. Bump is an app I haven't used in ages, and it may be one that I'm probably going to be getting rid of because I think they've pretty much stopped development on it. Files is different from sharing because these files, these apps help me transfer photos from this phone to a computer or another phone or another tablet or vice versa. And each one of these apps work differently, and some of them work better with bigger files than others, but I couldn't tell you right now other than sometimes I open up one and then like, oh, that doesn't do what I need to do, so I open up another. Like I said, I don't have unlimited space on the phone, but I can have more than one app installed. Hello. Remotes. So I use these apps if I want to remote into something. I don't use any of these as much anymore, though, but they're still nice to have. I do have a Sonos controller in the house. We don't use it as much anymore because Bluetooth speakers are now easier to use than going through a Sonos controller for the most part. I've got some VNC clients as well, or at least one VNC client. Never really used the phone as a mouse, but if I did, it would probably be with this app, and then, of course, Parallel's remote desktop. I don't change my wallpapers frequently, but I've got these. Prismatic is kind of a neat one, and I may actually go and use that in the near future because Prismatic will allow you to create gradient wallpapers, which I think work better for the way iOS 7 wallpapers work with the folders and transparency and colors. I appreciate gradient type of wallpapers, although right now I'm obviously not using a gradient. Travel is a series of apps related to traveling. Anytime I might need to search for a hotel or more information about an airport I might be in, searching for, you can have flight or accommodations, tracking flights, traveling around, as well as, any of the accounts that I've used before are traveling within or through these airlines. They generally have decent apps for the most part. I think that's about it in there that I would, care to talk about or use all that often. Local I don't use as much either, but Yelp I use frequently. Nextdoor I obviously use, and Nextdoor is great. If you want to set up, think of Nextdoor like a Facebook for your neighborhood. So I set this up, go.tagjag.com/nextdoor, and I set it up at a time that once you get 10 people to sign up for your neighborhood, they have to be legit people, like real neighbors. At one point, they sent you a $50 Starbucks gift card. At this point, I think they send between $25 to $50 of an Amazon for a $25 to $50 Amazon gift certificate if you get your neighborhood to sign up for Nextdoor. But you got to go through my link, because if you do, then you get that card, and then I get the card for making the referral. Go.tagjag.com/nextdoor. And by the way, one of the reasons why I've zoomed in here, and hang on, I think you should be able to Yeah, you should be able to see it well enough. I'm looking at the video. Hopefully the text is clear enough. It's clear enough to me, and I tried to increase the contrast. The camera would pick it up. But you'd be able to look at these names and even research them on your own if I'm not diving too deep into them. For home apps, I have a variety of services that I use, and of course, I organize them all into the home folder. Health. This is a folder that I don't use all that often either. The 7-minute workout thing is a thing, apparently. I don't really work out even 7 minutes, and I should. And I have, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4 7-minute workout apps, and I don't use any one of them. Argus is like a pedometer app, as is the running app or Nike Move. I guess one of those two from Nike does the tracking or in the accelerometer in the background. Argus is one that I would check if I was really monitoring my health in that way, and I really don't. I know I should, but the data is not as perfect as I wish it could be. For network, or in the network folder here, I've got speed test because I do use that if I am testing a network, and a couple of other apps, other apps that are related to network or connectivity. Witness is actually an app that I probably should put in the home folder. It's basically a monitor for some of my, most if not all, I should say, of my Macs that I can, open them up remotely, and it's basically security for the Macs. Witness is an app that's tied to a service. Tools is kind of things fall in here. They're just general apps that I might use, I might not use at any given time, like a print utility, URL to PDF if I needed to export, a web document as a PDF, I'd use that app. Font Creator, which I don't know if they sell one of these two in the store anymore. AppZilla, like a 201 app that I never use. IFTTT is probably the one I use most frequently. If this, then that. Love this app. Free service. It is the best thing in the world, especially if you use the internet. I think it's safe. Or any piece of technology, really. If this, then that is awesome. System, these are a little more, not hardcore, but I guess related to system stuff. Like if I have a printer that's an Epson printer, I could use this app to manage it. I guess I have at least one Epson printer. A couple versions of Geekbench apparently at this point in time. If I need to pull up my UDID, I can use that. Benchmarks, 3D Mark to again benchmark whatever it is. App Switch kind of gives me some information on background processes. I never use that. In fact, I never use any of these apps in this folder, other than, at the time that you need them, and then they're already installed. Notes, if I need to take notes that are deeper than the average default notes tool. Evernote, I might use on a regular basis. Plaintext 2 was a recent, that's a new installation, something that gives you a few more features than the default notes app. Clear, I talked about in TLDR the other day, was recently free. If you guys missed that, I told you, I warned you, could have gotten that app for free. Clear is basically a task management app. Communications. So I use Facebook Messenger most frequently here. Don't use HeyTell so much anymore. TeamSpeak, not as much anymore. GroupMe, it was suggested that I install, but I haven't used it. Messenger, I use most frequently in here. Skype, I hardly ever use anymore. Text Later is an app. I have not seen a new version of this, but I love Text Later because what Text Later will do is it's set to send you or somebody else a text at a given time. So you can schedule text messages. Love that service. So I think it was like a $2 app or whatever I bought years ago. They haven't updated it, but it still works quite well. Shopping, this is really not an interesting folder. Some stores that I might go to or buy from frequently, I'll go here. Amazon is probably the app I use most. Keyring, this is if I highlighted an app, and I may have talked about it last year. Keyring basically takes all your affinity cards and puts them into a single app. And I think Google Wallet does the same thing. It's just I started with Keyring, and it's worked very, very well for me. It's also tied into a web service. I mean, it's a good app. It really is. In fact, I think Apple should acquire Keyring because Keyring does a better job at what Passbook should be doing, but isn't. Kind of. So I don't know if that's going to provide more context, but you're more than welcome to get it or not get it. Food doesn't have a lot. I've got Starbucks app. Fruit Ninja, it's food, it's game, but it's food. And then Amazon Fresh, which we use very frequently to get our groceries. If I want savings, I'll use these apps. So they're usually tied to coupons or discounts, or I just jump right into the savings folder. App drops. I've got a few of the apps in here so I can be notified when an app that normally costs money drops, or I can scroll through recent price drops within the App Store. It's a great way of trying apps. They're normally $1, and then today they're free, or games, or whatever it happens to be. These are some apps that I use. Feature Points is the one thing that I've been teasing forever. I use Feature Points to earn free gift cards. It works with iOS and Android. It's US and UK, and I think even other countries as well. And I earn gift cards, apps that would normally cost me money I can get for free in exchange for gift codes. It's easy. And I'll put the link in the video description. go.tagjag.com/free points is the link to use. And then I get the referral credit, and you get extra points if you go through my link too. So, you don't try to circumvent me. Or you can. You just won't get as many bonuses. Calcers. If I need to calculate something quickly, I might use any one of these. A converter app, a couple of tip apps, but I don't use them all that often, but they're there. Any kind of accounts that I might have, tied to finances, will go in here. Astronomy apps, a handful of them. Don't use them as much as I'd like to, but they are there. Just in case I'm out in the country road, never, and need to use it. Entertainment apps, so I've got a Sling Player still, or Sling Box. Use the Sling Player app. Fandango for movies, Flickster for ultraviolet at this point. The NASA app. Cinex Player is another one of those Uber media players that I have installed that works well. Audible, of course, I've been teasing them for a while. Not teasing them, I mean, telling you can get one free audiobook download through my link. Live video, don't use all that often anymore. But some really interesting apps. Of course, Ustream, I'm a member of their board there. And I just haven't broadcast there in ages. Twitch, I plan on using Twitch once more developers are using their iOS SDK, and then I'll basically be using iOS and gaming from iOS, streaming out to Twitch. Can't wait for that to happen. Number games, only 2 of them, and I love them. Glowburst and Super 7 classics. Image Fun, I guess I have a couple pages here. The booths, the popular ones like Aging Booth, Bald Booth, Mixed Booth. Lego Photo, they haven't updated in ages, but I love it. Meme Gen is the best way to make meme video or photos on the phone. iLapse is what I use to do time lapses in my Lego builds. A couple of the more interesting apps here, I would say, are Face Swap and Face Bomb. You take a picture, and if like say 2 people's faces are in the photo, what Face Swap will do is it'll automatically swap the faces without any editing. It's so easy. It's fun too. It works so well, and you can tweak it if you want, but it works very, very well. Face Bomb, if you have like multiple faces in the photo, it basically takes one person's face and puts it on everybody's face. Hey, why not? It's an app. Scribbles, if I need to write or draw or anything that might create something from drawing, will go here, like Adobe Ideas. Handwritten email, you can actually scribble out a note and then press a button, it sends an image. Substrate is just I guess it's a screensaver of sorts. Just, it's kind of mindless stuff. Isometric I bought, and I have buyer's remorse because I think it cost 99 cents, and people were raving about it. I'm like, this is horrible. They could have done this app so much better. But I'm like, well, I paid 99 cents, so I'll hold on to it. Why not? Laser Draw, I love this one because it's got lightsaber sounds, and that's Carl. Bye-bye! What is it? Funny? No, Carl. That's right, Carl. I'm talking to nobody right now, but his name was Carl, but I can't remember the other app that he starred in at this point. I don't know why. Funny, Talking Carl, that was it. That was Talking Carl, the same app developers. PhotoProx, so these are processing apps that I would possibly push a photo through for various effects. I don't use many of them often. If I did... Percolator I love out of here. I used to use TunePaint all the time to basically, if you're looking to take a color image and turn it into a black and white image, just a monochromatic image, TunePaint was the best one that I found that allowed for a certain level of tweaking. Fat Pixel I used just last night to obscure certain parts of an image. They have an interesting way of obscuring parts of an image that you might want to blur out, but you can use different patterns over it. Blockheads. These are a series of games that involve blocks. My favorite, Tetris. Although I don't like touch Tetris as much as I like playing Tetris with a controller. Oops, sorry, I scrolled ahead to the last page and didn't mean to. If I want to make an animated GIF, I might use GIF.me or LoopCam. There's also stop motion. I don't use a lot of stop motion apps, obviously, here. I don't do a lot of stop motion animation. Sims and AR, Infinity Blade 3, Epic Citadel, These may be self-explanatory. Air Coaster. If I wanted to, see how well the graphics were running or have, some fun with the screen, right? I have to be careful about playing a lot or doing a lot of 3D stuff on my screens because I get car sick or motion sickness quickly. Comicals, anything related to comics or like making multiple panes out of various images. Diptych, just got a DM from Pocket Says. She's another YouTuber. There was no incriminating information in there, so I'm just going to scroll it off. I talk to other YouTubers. I don't know if you knew this. I talk to them a lot. But most of the YouTubers I talk to have zero to do with geekery or technology. Some of them do, not all of them. So Diptych was a good app that I kept. Photocomic turns your images more into comic strips. Bit strips, some people hate. I've always loved bit strips. But anytime I might want to do a comic kind of image, I'll go to that folder. Noisers. Well, that was just the same notification coming in through the desktop. So if I want to play with sound on the phone, I'll use any one of these these apps. They just different apps that allow me to play with sound on the phone. Audio Fun, kind of like that last folder, but a bit more interactive than the other one. I couldn't even tell you. I could tell you. I have a separate Noisers and Audio Fun now because at one point you could not have pagination in folders, so I had to separate folders. I think you could only have 12 apps in a folder at one stage. It's obviously changed with iOS 7, so that's. Sorry, got my lip balm there. I'm gonna stop playing with it and get back to the phone. So Audio Fun, more Audio Fun things. Nothing really that jumps out at me right now. But, sometimes I just want something mindless. I want to play around, and I'll just open up one of these apps. If I'm trying to impress a kid, I'll open up Bebot. Music, I think these are more music composition or music-oriented apps, which I think are rather nice. The Tenorion, love that, considering that the real Tenorion cost like $800. This app, $10, $5, whatever. Love it. iK Oscillator. I still have my real K Oscillator in a drawer. Love that as well. Anything that's related to any kind of music composition or any kind of, I guess I had also music management apps in there as well for like Bluetooth speakers. Pianists, anything that might be piano-esque, goes into a separate folder for pianos. Radio, anything that might be radio-oriented. So, I'm an Amazon Cloud Player, Spotify, Pandora, TMBG app, huge TMBG fan, and a couple of other music-oriented apps. Music games, don't play all that often, but of course Tap Tap Revenge has got to be in there. Mazers, so any kind of game that's kind of maze-like, even though Dead Pixel isn't maze-like, I put it in here because it was the closest thing. Labyrinth 3D, great one there. Creatures, any kind of game that's got a creature in it, like Angry Birds Star Wars. Hello, creatures, right there. Where's my water? Where's my prairie? They're creatures. Or the virtual koi pond, which I've also had for ages. Holiday type of apps, like creating snowflakes or ornaments. Cut My Rope Holiday Edition, go into the holidays folder. Tablers, any type of game that might be played on a real table, like air hockey, mahjong, or a dice game that hasn't been updated forever, Motion X Poker goes in there. And the reason I keep it is because I just love the sound and I love the playability. So I've cut down the pagination from earlier years because I've deleted a lot of apps, believe it or not, but I'm on my fourth and final page here. That wasn't clear by the amount of emptiness in this area. Opening up nostalgic, so anything that I grew up with or is classic would go in here, like the IDOS or DOS emulator, if they can call it that. It's DOS, basically, on your phone. C64, I can program in BASIC on my iPhone if I wanted to. Ms. Pac-Man, Minesweeper, Spy vs. Spy, which is a game I used to play on the C64, the Activision Anthology, and Wooly Willy. I also have the full Atari Anthology, but I don't have it on the phone. I found myself playing it more on the iPad. So I probably cleared it off of here to save space. Any kind of racing game that I might get will go in here. I don't have a favorite racing game, though. I find a lot of them are very difficult to manage and maneuver with touch controls or player controls on the phone. They're not as easy or as intuitive as I would like them to be. I'm waiting to find one that just works so well. It's difficult to beat an actual physical controller with buttons that you can mash, though. Like even a D-pad. I expect that to change, as more iPhone controllers come out in the near future. Drivers, these would be driving games, but not specifically racing games. Vehicles. Hello. Vehicles that aren't cars, aren't racers, go in here. So, Train Conductor, Light Bike 2, which is very Tron-esque, and I love Tron. Or futuristic, like a space racing game. You're not really racing, you're just kind of flying around this tunnel, and similar types of apps. Flyers, specifically planes. These are the ones that made the cut. Flight Control, very popular app for quite some time. Spaceships, the one that I love on here is Geometry Wars Touch, although I do enjoy playing Geometry Wars Touch more so on the iPad because of the larger screen. Balls, anything that has to do with balls. My favorite one, okay, I've got multiple favorites on here. I love Dots, very simple, I love casual games. Star Wars Pinball, naturally. Multi-Ponk, used to be called Multi-Pong, and I guess they changed the name for licensing reasons. Love that game. That is, love it. Loved Zuma on the Xbox. Love it just as much on iOS. Tilters. If I have to tilt the phone back and forth to play a game, I'll put it in here. Cube Runner. Classic iPhone game. Very simple. Love it. See, the simpler the game is, the more likely I am to love it and play it frequently. Puzzler games. In here, I think the one I've played the most, Pictorial HD and Hundreds. Love Hundreds. Beat iSlash at one point, but I think they released new levels. Just got Box Trot, which is kind of like a Simon type of game with monochromatic boxes that you tap to try to remember which way you're going. Tap to Color, another one of those simple puzzlers, easy to pick up and put down. Levelers, these are games that might have multiple levels as you play through it, like Angry Birds. I don't know why I don't put Angry Birds in that Creatures folder. It's been a while since I've organized. In here, I love Pudding Monsters. Love Pudding Monsters. I can't beat the very, very, very last level. That's the only level that I have not been able to clear at a 3-star level. I'm going nuts. And I haven't looked up any kind of cheats or walkthroughs on it. I want to try to beat it myself. Again, these are very, very simple, pick them up, put them down type of games. But generally games that, you level up, you go to level 2, level 3, level 4, we'll go into the levelers one. Yodel-O is kind of fun. Again, pick them up, put them down. Those are the games I love. Casual games. Jumpies, so anything that might go, jump up, like Doodle Jump, might go in here. There's also a Domo Jump, which doesn't look like it's been updated in months. Tiny Wings is also in here. And then, last but not least, at least as far as apps go, I have my Wordies. So if I play Scrabble, I don't do that often. Words with Friends, I haven't played forever. Letterpress, I might go with every once in a while. The app that I play the most in the Wordies folder is Crosswords. Love playing Crosswords on the iPhone, and Crosswords is the best app that I've found. When I'm flying or traveling, if I'm wanting to play a game, it's usually Crosswords because it'll engage me and pull me in and make the time fly for me. That's the game that I usually will play. Usually, specifically when I'm flying. The only other folder that I have full of apps are down below. I have TechMeme, which I do visit for tech news. Google Docs is there. Outlook Web Access, Free My Apps, Feature Points, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. These are all web shortcuts. The Free My Apps is another one of those app generators. I use this just as frequently as I use Feature Points. So there's go.tagjag.com/free points. Go.tagjag.com/free apps. If you use those links, just tap them in this video's description. I'll get the credit. You'll get more points on the uptake, and you'll earn more than you normally would earn, at least at the onset. I'm still using them to this day. Every single day I check in, I exchange for free points, free Amazon gift cards, free iTunes gift cards, PlayStation Network cards if I did that, or Xbox Live gift cards or whatever. Love these. I mean, hey, it's a phone. You might as well be earning things with it. It doesn't have to be a cost center. And I think between these two things, I've probably made more than any one of my iPhones have been worth. I think that's pretty much it. I guess in the dock or the tray, I've got, my iMessages, phone, and mail, which I use frequently enough. I don't have notification or the number. I don't know what it's called, Wicket. That's the problem. I don't know what it's called. I don't have it on for mail because I have so much email. It would always be at a level greater than 0. Messages I usually keep because sometimes I will miss messages. I usually turn a lot of that off. Paper, I'm guessing. No, Tweetbot. That's telling me I have a new DM. Weather, I used to have an app that had the notification for the temperature of the day, the current temperature at that time. It would show up as a little number so that you can just check it real quickly since the weather app doesn't update dynamically. I wish it would. I don't know what that 7's there for. That's crazy because I thought it would be 16. Maybe there's a bug in that. I may need to delete that app. Or maybe the background app refresh is turned off. I turned that off to save battery life. So, yeah, I think that's about all I needed to show you right now. Hopefully you appreciated the format, and I did my best with the screen and optimizing the color, contrast, and everything. I did, just so you know, upload this video to all the patrons who support me at patreon.com/Chris Pirillo, also known as chrispirillo.com. I set up a redirect. They got to see this video before YouTube got to see this video, and I gave it to them first because they're some of my biggest supporters. And I released this video into the wild after we reached 500 patrons. Let's see here. I haven't checked in the past day. Patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. Just checking here. 489 patrons right now, and so 11 patrons from now, everyone will see this video. Until then, sorry, like swapping. I should probably turn off mirroring, but I won't. Yeah, that's the number right now. We're almost at 500. I expect that we'll be at 1,000 patrons within the year, and we can only do that with your support. If you like the videos that I do for you, the best way to basically show that, really, to me, is saying, Chris, your videos are worth more than a $2 cup of coffee, because many of the patrons are supporting me at $2 a month. Next time you drink your favorite beverage, period, just think of me. And maybe you only like water. Okay, the next time you buy a bottle of water. That is the level of support that most patrons are coming in at, and I'm very happy with it. They make it very, very sustainable for me to be able to continue to do videos, to do better for you, so that the next What's on My iPhone or iOS device will work well. I don't know if I have plans. Maybe I'll do a What's on My iPad. Okay, I'll do a What's on My iPad video when we hit 1,000 patrons. Does that sound like a deal? So if you want it, now you know how to get it. Thanks again for all your support. Thank you for watching this deeply into the video. Thanks again for all your likes, comments, shares, subscribes. I really do appreciate your support, no matter what kind of support you can give. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I may not see every single comment that comes in, but I did my best for you today, and hopefully my best is good enough for you. We'll see you later.